All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again. And before we start, I want to tell everybody, if you haven't voted, please get out and vote. We got to get President Trump back in the White House, even though the polls looking good, and we want to make it too big to rig. We want to win in a landslide. So even though Donald Trump is winning in the polls, please go out and still vote, because these Democrats, they are trying everything to steal this election, and we cannot allow that to happen. Now, it brings me to this one by Liberal High Mind. He said that the voting results memo gets leaked by the Trump campaign. Holy moly. So we're about to get ready and dive straight into this. And another thing that we're going to be checking out in this video is that, you know how CNN, they always trying to find people right before the election to try to say that that joke that comedian told at Madison Square Garden was Donald Trump's fault and that he lost Puerto Rican votes because of that. I mean, this right here is just crazy. And this is what CNN do all the time. They always try to find somebody that felt like they was bothered by a joke that Donald Trump didn't even say. Donald Trump, well, I don't even think Donald Trump was even in the building when that comedian said that. And then it's coming from a comedian. It ain't like it came from J.D. Vance or Vivek or Elon or anybody that's associated with Donald Trump. So this is what CNN doing now, finding people trying to say, oh, that joke is the reason why I'm voting for Kamala Harris. It's like, for real? Really? But these the same people that have been calling Donald Trump Hitler, saying all these crazy stuff, and that don't bother you? Yeah, I mean, it just don't make sense at all. But like I said before, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody who always watches the entire video. I really, really appreciate it, because like I said, it really, really helps the channel out a lot, and YouTube will share it. So shout out to the one who always let me know that they watched the entire video and hit that like button. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this, y'all. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of mainstream media lately, and both CNN and NBC News or MSNBC continue to suggest that this election is going to be extremely close. And if you look at their averages, both of them are telling us that Kamala Harris is going into this thing with a slight lead in the battleground state polls.
That's a lie.
A couple things jump out here. Well, obviously, they're all close. You don't see a margin here of greater than 1.9 points. You do see a bit of a north-south divide. We've seen this lately in the polling. Trump's leads here, very small, but Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, basically Sun Belt states. Harris's best performances in here, you know, Wisconsin, 1.4, 1.8 in Michigan. These are the northern tier states. 0.3 of a point in Pennsylvania. So a bit of a north-south divide. And if that holds, if that cements, that is ultimately good news for Harris, because Michigan plus Pennsylvania plus Wisconsin, if there are no surprises outside of the battleground, would for Harris equal 270 electoral votes.
Look, here's the situation. We've been talking about the 7 battleground states, Arizona 3, Georgia 1 for Trump, less than a point in North Carolina, less than a point in Nevada, and then along your Great Lake battleground states, less than a point lead for Harris in Pennsylvania, less than a point in Wisconsin, less than a point in Michigan. And if, of course, you put it, this is how tight it is. If you put the polls to the electoral map, Kamala Harris carries these Great Lake battleground states despite losing all of the Sun Belt battleground states. I'm coming to John's side of the screen. You get to 270 electoral votes.
And look, the point of this video isn't to say that I'm completely disregarding what they're saying. I'm of course taking it into account. It's certainly possible. But you know what else is possible? A ruby red landslide,
exactly.
Unlike anything seen since the 1980s. And that right there is a phenomenon that I'd really like to delve into. I just finished recording my official 2024 election video, and in that little segment that I recorded, I tried to be as conservative as possible, just because of the level of uncertainty and really how close the polls are. But even with that being my official prediction, there's still something at the back of my mind suggesting that the polls could be completely off, and this could be a Republican election victory for the ages. So let's have a conversation about that and maybe take a look at what that might look like. And really, I'm basing it all on the early voting metrics. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's start off with a memo that was just released by the Trump campaign. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this. We've got a new supposedly confidential memo. I guess it was leaked to the media, probably purposely so, and this is from the Trump campaign's senior leadership team, where the subject is listed as the Democrat turnout problem heading into the election. They're essentially suggesting that Democrats are facing a huge voter turnout issue, specifically in the battleground states. With early voting closed and Election Day on the horizon, Democrats are facing a massive turnout deficit. In every single battleground state, we see President Trump and Republicans outperforming elections passed in absentee ballots and early votes cast. As we dive deeper into the data, Democrats are facing a precipitous decline in urban turnout, according to their own data experts, and we are tracking an uptick in rural turnout. Obama's former campaign manager, Jim Messina, just said on MSNBC that the early vote numbers are a little scary. What Mr. Messina is downplaying is that they're a lot scarier for Democrats. According to NBC News, President Donald J. Trump has a 16-point lead among voters who plan to cast their ballot on Election Day. Obama's chief campaign strategist and CNN political commentator David Axelrod told CNN that there are no guarantees that voters will turn out on Election Day for Vice President Harris. Let me play you guys that clip.
Most worried about right now?
Well, look, the watchword of the day is humility here. When you have polls that are this close, and I'm sitting next to one of the great pollsters, and I think she would tell you, when you have polls this close, you're not sure of anything. And it really matters who shows up because these polls are not precise. So what I'm worried about is you're counting on some women who are independent Republican women to come out and vote for Harris. Is that going to materialize? Is the gender gap going to be what you need it to be? Are minority voters going to come out in the numbers of African American voters in particular, and are you going to get the margins that you want there? So there are a lot of open questions, and they're obviously working it hard right now. There are feet on the street, and they're doing the kind of work that you do in a race like this. But this race is filled with uncertainty today.
Democrats are spinning themselves and reporters by claiming that their voters will turn out on Election Day when the polls show otherwise. And most importantly, that's asking Democrat voters to do something they have absolutely no history of doing.
That's the reason why I said we got to make it too big to read, because if you see how nervous the Democrats is, depending on like how many Republicans have already done voted, they are nervous. And that's the reason why I said they're going to try anything to cheat. So please, get out and vote if you haven't voted. Please go vote. We got to get President Trump back in the White House because, like I mentioned before, if this race end up being close, they going to try to cheat. We know they known for cheating. They going to try their best to do anything, and they don't even care. They just willing to win. Whatever it takes to win, they're going to try it. So, like I said, you're going to get CNN, you're going to get MSNBC, you're going to get ABC, you're going to get all of these networks that's going to try to make it seem like the race is so close and that Kamala Harris has a pretty good chance of winning, a woman who can't even put two sentences together. Don't nobody still know her policies. All she's been doing is just pandering to people depending on what crowd she's around. That's why I say there's no way this woman is close in these polls. So I'm looking for a landslide victory tonight. So we shall see. But like I said before, like Donald Trump said, like his campaign said, we cannot take any chances. We must get out and vote. Take family members with you so we can make this too big to rig. I mean, come on. We do not want no Kamala Harris presidency. It's just going to be a rerun of the Biden-Harris regime. That's exactly what it's going to be. Because you think about it. We got Trump, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek, Elon. I mean, come on. That right there is who you want in the White House. New leadership. Not this crap that's up in there now. Because she's just going to leave the borders open. More people going to come across the borders and stuff like that. This woman do not care. Because at this point, she's just saying whatever it takes to win. Whatever it takes. Now she's doing fake stages, going by people's houses at night. I mean, this is just crazy.
Democrats who historically vote ahead of Election Day haven't been motivated to show up for Kamala yet. Why do we expect them to show up tomorrow? President Donald J. Trump is going into Election Day stronger than he has in any previous election.
You know, another thing that I just realized earlier today, they asked Donald Trump, they said, is you going to accept the results, win or lose? But here's the thing that I get with that question. Why haven't they asked Kamala Harris that? Have y'all realized that? They have not asked Kamala Harris that question yet. VP Harris, if you lose, is you going to concede that you lost? Why haven't they asked her that? They always ask people around Trump, or either they always ask Donald Trump and J.D. Vance or people around him, is they going to accept the results? But they have not asked Kamala Harris and her campaign that question yet. So y'all let me know in the comments, why haven't they asked her that? If she's going to concede, if she loses.
And if patriots across the country keep the momentum and turn out as expected on Election Day, we will be swearing in President Trump in January. But you don't need to take our word for it. According to Democrat data expert Tom Bonnier of TargetSmart, this is what's happening in battleground states. In Arizona, we've got urban turnout down negative 355,000 votes compared to this point in 2020. We've got female turnout down 170,000. And we've got rural turnout, which of course is the Trump vote, up 14,000 votes. In Georgia, you essentially see the exact same thing. In Michigan, again, the same trend. North Carolina, the same trend. Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin also showing reduced enthusiasm with urban voters and female voters. It's a little bit odd, don't you think? I mean, for all the talk that female voters are going to save the nation from the evil orange man, supposedly female voters are so ticked off that even Iowa, a ruby red Republican state, is going to flip. According to this data, the female early vote turnout is down. And not just down a little bit, but down significantly, in some cases, down hundreds of thousands of votes. I mean, guys, this possibly paints a picture that is devastating for the Democrats. I know on X and other social media platforms, they're really deploying their influencer/celebrity army to pretend as if there's still some excitement and enthusiasm out there. But honestly, I'm not so sure there is. I'm not so sure it exists. Again, take that with a grain of salt. It's possible that Democrats flood the polls on Election Day, but like the Trump campaign memo states, usually we would have seen that flood already, but it hasn't materialized. And so the suggestion is that it's not coming. And what it feels like is the Kamala campaign has simply run out of steam. At some point, the whole Yas Queen thing that the media was doing ran its course and stopped working and stopped getting people excited. It got old really quick. People were looking for substance. It wasn't there. And so beyond the people who fall for that nonsense, there might not be anybody else. It feels almost as if everything they've attempted has failed spectacularly, and there might be proof behind that statement. I mean, let's just go into the Tony Hinchcliffe, Madison Square Garden, Puerto Rican joke thing. The media kept reporting about this widespread outrage. Oh, this is the exact thing that Kamala Harris needed to turn the tides. Yeah, well, not so sure that's the case. Eric Doherty breaks it down, breaking Donald Trump improves among Pennsylvania Puerto Ricans by 6 points from 2020, according to a new Univision poll after his New York rally. And also apparently from that same Univision poll, Trump is now at 30% with Hispanic voters in general in Pennsylvania, which your initial reaction might be, well, that's not great, 30%. It sounds bad, as End Wokeness suggests in his tweet as well, but back in 2020, Donald Trump was at 14% with Pennsylvania Hispanics. So despite the faux outrage over a joke at Madison Square Garden, it's possible that Donald Trump has doubled his support from the Hispanic community. So much for widespread outrage as voters ditch Donald Trump. The media really tried to sell it as if it was happening with so many of these little anecdotes.
Anything different from the last time we were here?
A lot.
Saros is now voting Harris, and he says the racist insults at the weekend Trump event exploded on social media, triggered listener calls, texts, emails.
That alone flipped a lot of people that were going to
So that's going to flip people. A joke from a comedian? It didn't come from Donald Trump. It didn't come from anybody that's associated with him. It's by a comedian that's known for... People act like they never heard jokes before. He didn't just say anything about Puerto Rico. He said stuff about black people too. You don't see black people getting all outraged about that because we all know it's just jokes. All comedians do it, whether it's a white comedian, a black comedian, or any comedian. All comedians say stuff like that. So I can't see how it to me is like the fake outrage, and I just believe because if you watch some of the other video, it was like more Puerto Ricans talking like, that didn't bother me. We know it's a comedian, but it came from CNN, so CNN is going to go find like a Puerto Rican who did get offended by it and just say they ain't going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for Harris because of it. That's what they do. And I guarantee you they ain't showing no videos of Puerto Ricans who said, yeah, I heard it, but I'm still voting for Trump. They ain't going to show that. They only want to show, see, and this is what they do to try to push their agenda. A joke made you want to, I mean, Donald Trump's economy is what's going to help you. You're going to throw that away over a joke by a comedian? That didn't come from Donald Trump. What about all the insults that come from Kamala Harris? Calling this man Hitler? Comparing Madison Square Garden to a Nazi rally? Don't you know it was Puerto Ricans and stuff at Madison Square Garden? And you got MSNBC playing a Nazi or old Nazi rally video while people was up in there and compared to everybody that showed up to a Nazi talking about they a Nazi rally? How that don't offend you? I mean, I just don't get it at all. The joke didn't come from Donald. Donald Trump said he don't know who that guy was. He said he didn't know the guy was even going to be there. But he said that what that guy said has nothing to do with his campaign. That came from a comedian. I mean, this stuff just has to stop, man.
Go for Trump now, saying, hey, maybe I'm not too sure.
Over a joke?
Maybe I'm going, with
Man,
Harris.
come on, man.
The rhetoric, whether directly from,
If you're talking about rhetoric, what about the rhetoric from Kamala Harris, then?
the candidate or not, it's kind of scary, especially, for Latinos here in Vegas, specifically, my Mexican people.
He says, he doesn't know who allowed those speakers to speak at his rally.
Oh, that's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Wow.
But I don't think it's actually happening, and I'm not surprised that it isn't. I mean, who really makes political decisions like this? Oh, a joke was told, and therefore I've switched my vote.
That's
Give me
crazy.
a break. Supposedly, the Trump campaign's suffering, the Trump campaign's losing voters. Kamala Harris has been saying this, but meanwhile, what's trending on social media and trending in the news is a group of Minnesota Somali leaders coming out publicly to endorse Donald Trump.
Yep.
And the reason why is because he's a fighter. That's it. We like fighters. More importantly, the left left us. They left us. 33% of our kids at third grade cannot read at grade level. We went from the 6th to what? 19 now? In Minnesota in education? I mean, we are failing in every standard. 8th graders, 60% cannot do math at grade level. These are our kids. We talk about economic conditions here. Our conditions is horrible. We can't afford anything as working class and middle class people. Now, please understand this. We love our brothers and sisters who are Democrats, but you left us. And because the left left us, join the right, vote for Trump, 2024.
Let's go.
I don't know. And again, I don't want to make huge predictions. Trump's going to win Michigan, Virginia. He's going to win New York and New Jersey. I'm not going to go that far. But what I am saying is it certainly seems as if a lot of puzzle pieces are kind of falling in place that are clearly demonstrating or showing an image that is crystal red.
Yep.
A crystal red, American map-shaped image. It seems like voters are ditching Kamala Harris like never before. They're simply failing to drum up any type of enthusiasm, and they might not be getting people to the polls. The most important voters are independent voters and especially low propensity voters or general election voters. The left keeps talking about this red mirage, which happened in 2022, but Trump wasn't on the ballot in 2022, and midterms are not the same as general elections. When Trump's on the ballot, people come out to vote in droves. Now the question remains, can Kamala Harris achieve the same? I'm just not convinced as of yet. This
either.
might be a historic landslide, the likes of which we haven't seen in a very, very long
Exactly.
time. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got.
Salute to liberal high mind. Like I said, I'm expecting a landslide myself, and I'm going to say this again, like I said in my last video. Please get out and vote. If you haven't voted yet, we got to get President Trump back in the White House. So please get out, get your vote cast, no matter how good Donald Trump is doing in the polls. But at the same time, we can't take no chances. We got to get out and vote. All right. So like I said, thank you all for watching. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.